Welcome to the series of video tutorials on using iBooks Author. On the right hand side of the screen you'll notice a list of resources that have been created for this purpose. We need those because iBooks Author does not actually create the material, it actually brings together the material you have to build an interactive book for your students. Now if we look down the bottom, here is the iBooks Author icon. It's an orange book with a pen across it. We open that up and it will give you a list of templates. Now don't worry too much about these templates and don't go wasting a lot of money on them. The templates are really nothing more than just an image and a text box, all of which can be changed. We're going to use this one because it suits what we're doing. So I'll just choose it and it opens up. It has a nice background which suits the Explorer's theme which I've decided to use. Let's just have a look at what is involved in iBooks Author. It's a little bit confusing when you look at it, but it's very easy to get used to. As we start to build out our book, our chapters will appear down the left hand side here. We add our pages and chapters through the plus tool. This particular tool here will allow us to move between thumbnails and other views. There's portrait and landscape. We are just doing a landscape one. These controls across here are all very similar and pretty self-explanatory. Widgets we will look at later in more detail. This is how we actually send the book that you are creating to your iPad for a preview, and then if you wish to publish it to the iTunes store you can go through here. Now these buttons over the side are very familiar if you happen to use Pages or Keynote or Numbers. Now let's have a look at the media button because this is an interesting one. I'm just going to move this back to thumbnail view and I'm going to add a blank page just so we can see what I'm doing here. The media button accesses your Mac's media folders, your audio for iTunes, iPhotos and iMovie. I can just drag a movie out of that folder and it's instantly inserted in your iBooks Author. I'll send the inspector away. That's something I'm not going to use at the moment either. I'll use it later. Same with photos. I can just drag out a photo from my iPhotos and it appears. And audio accesses my iTunes library. I can just drag that file out. It'll go through a little bit of optimizing to get the file ready to be used. Once it is, then I simply can double click on it and the file plays. That's like good old Aussie rock and roll. Doesn't quite suit our purpose though. These would work really well if you had an audio file of a reading that you wanted to include, or if we're doing something historical like this, perhaps some songs from the period would fit really well. And as these files drag out, the text is customizable. And up the top here we have all the usual formatting options for text. I'll let you now just have a bit of a play around with these options just to get familiar with them, and then we'll have a look at part 2.